Alright people, hello and welcome to the class of organic chemistry. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to cover some basic concepts in organic chemistry. One of the fundamental concepts about which students always have a confusion is isomerism. And there are different forms of isomerism. We have structural isomerism, in which we have positional isomerism, functional isomerism, tautomerism, metamerism, and so on and so forth. The problem here is that all of a sudden when these things pop up, when you are trying to study organic chemistry, whether it is the 11th portion syllabus or whether it is the 12th portion syllabus, or whether you are preparing for IIT or whether you are preparing for NEET or any other competitive examinations, whenever these things just pop up, they create a confusion. So we need to have our fundamentals and basics very clear on these things for us to have a solid clarity before solving problems related to these concepts. Okay, so my purpose here is to have a clear understanding about this topic of isomerism, so that in future whenever you face any question or any concept, okay, you will be able to easily sail through it. The thing is that whether we are talking about alcohols, whether we are talking about aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids, esters, or even polymers, these things will keep on coming in each chapter. And if you don't have your fundamentals clear, you will always tend to goof up as to what was actually said, because not in every chapter will there be a possibility of dealing with the topics separately when you are referring to a book or when you are going to a class or whatever. So it's very important that we have a solid clarity on these things, and my attempt here is to align you with the solid clarity on the concept of at least isomerism. Okay, so please go through the videos as and when I upload it, and please feel free to feed your inputs in the input section or your comments. If there are any confusions or clarities required, I will ensure that I cover it up and publish it in my next video. So please pay attention, which is very much required. If your attention levels are deviating while you are watching the video, it's better to pause, take some gap, take a break, and then again start it. Okay, but nevertheless it's a very important topic, and it covers a lot of things which are the core concepts and basics of organic chemistry. So whether it is 11th or whether it is 12th, these concepts are going to strike you time and again. So have a solid clarity on these concepts so that you will smoothly and easily sail through all the chapters correlated to organic chemistry. Okay, so let's start off with isomerism. We have studied in the 10th standard what is isomerism. So isomerism basically is nothing but when compounds have same molecular formula, but different structural formula. Compounds have the same molecular formula but different structural formula. Okay, so molecular formula remains the same, and structural, this is something that we have learned in the 10th standard itself. Okay, so we will by and large try and understand where and for what reasons isomerism is exhibited by different organic compounds. Okay, so on a broad basis isomerism can be classified, and we are going to deal with all of them one by one. Okay, so we have structural, constitutional, and stereoisomerism. So structural isomerism, we have chain isomerism, we have positional isomerism, then we have functional isomerism, we have metamerism, we have tautomerism, we have ring chain as well. Okay, and if we look into stereoisomerism is either configurational or confrontational. I know these words might be a little confusing for you, but by and large we are going to cover each of these topics in detail with examples as well, which will make things easy for you. But first of all, we need to know the bifurcation as to what we are going to study and cover. Okay, so conformational isomerism, we have eclipsed isomerism, we have skew, Gaucher, and staggered. Okay, In configurational, we have geometric isomerism, in which we have cis or trans, or E and Z, or sync and anti, or sync and anti. Optical isomerism, in geometrical isomerism, which is also known as enantiomerism. So quite a number of things that we need to study, understand, and have our basics clear about. So stay tuned, we will cover each one of them in detail. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to cover in detail is structural isomerism. In structural isomerism, we have different parts. So what is basically structural isomerism? In which there is a difference. Just the bottom line. We don't need to know the definitions. Yes, of course, from both perspective, you need to learn the definitions out there, but we need to apply those definitions. Okay. So there is a difference. There is a difference in the structure. There is a difference in the structural arrangement. There is a difference in the structural arrangement of carbon atoms. There is a difference in the structural arrangement of carbon atoms. Now, the first thing that we have in structural isomerism, is also known as chain or nuclear isomerism. Chain or nuclear isomerism. So we will call this as either chain or nuclear isomerism. So what happens in chain or nuclear isomerism? Again, isomerism, the basic concept remains the same, that the compounds have the same structural formula. So the compounds have the same molecular formula, but the structural formula is different. So the basic definition will have the same, compounds having the same molecular formula but different structural formula. So let's look at this. This is chain isomerism. Let's say we will name these compounds and we will try and analyze how they work. Okay, so let's say I attach a methyl group here and I attach a methyl group here. Okay, this is plain and simple. If I start from here, 1 2 3 4, if I start from here, it makes the same thing. Okay, so since it is 4, we will call it as butane. This is what? Butane. So we can say that it is N-butane, very much. Okay, or butane, simple butane. Okay, so let's say we come to this one. Okay, let's say we come to this one. So here we have one methyl group, here we have one methyl group, obviously one carbon atom is here, and here we have one methyl group. Okay, now let's look at this. See, the chain arrangement out here and the chain arrangement out here are different. So what we will be calling this as, let's say we call this as 1 2 and 3. So this will be what? 2 methyl propane, 2 methyl propane. Simple. Okay, are these isomers? Yes, very much. Look at their formulas. What will be the formula? C4H10. C4H10. Both will justify the same formula, C4H10. Both are going to justify the same formula with the same number of carbon atoms as 4 and H atoms as 10. Both will justify the formula. So these are basically what? Chain or nuclear isomers. Chain or nuclear isomers. There is a difference in the arrangement of the chains in the carbon atoms. Let's look at this one. Okay, let's attach methyl here. Let's attach one methyl group here. So what we'll have? We have here is 1 2 3 4 and 5. 1 2 3 4 and 5. So obviously this will be what? N-pentane. N-pentane. This will be N-pentane. Let's look at this one. So this is 1 2 3 4, and obviously this will be a methyl group. Let's say this is a methyl group as well. Now let's name this. Again, we have how many carbon atoms here? 1 2 3 4 5, same as this one. N-pentane, what will be the formula? C5H12. Okay, this will also have the same formula, that is C5H12, but will it be having a structural difference? Yes, it will be. So it is definitely a structural isomerism. And what kind of structural isomerism is it? It is basically chain isomerism. So let's look at this. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. How will I name this compound? This compound will be named as, so obviously 4. So we have the butane, and this will be 1 2 3. Oh, let's name it from here. Let's do the name from here. Lowest locant rule, I'm applying the lowest locant rule here. Okay, so 1 2 3 and 4. So this will be what? 2 methyl 2-methyl butane. This will be 2-methyl butane. Are these two isomers? Yes, very much. N-pentane and 2-methyl butane are isomers because both will have the same molecular formula C5H12. Let's look at this compound. Let's say this is methyl, this is also methyl, this is also methyl, this is also methyl. Go from anywhere, 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, whichever ways you want to go. You are free to choose it, okay, because any which ways your this atom is always going to get number 2. Okay, now how do we name this? 2,2-dimethyl 2,2-dimethyl propane. Why propane? Why propane? Because obviously it has 3 carbon atoms and 2,2-dimethyl propane. So 2,2-dimethyl propane, N-pentane and 2-methyl butane. All of them are what? All of them are chain or nuclear isomers. Chain or nuclear isomers. They just have a difference in the arrangement of carbon atoms, or rather the chain of carbon atoms. We can very well see that all of them have the same molecular formula, so obviously they will be displaying isomerism. One good aspect about chain isomerism or structural isomerism here is that they have different physical properties but almost same chemical properties. Now when I talk about physical properties, we would mean melting point, boiling point. They will show a gradation in melting point or boiling point, refractive index, density, and all, so on and so forth. All of them will have the same chemical properties but different physical properties. Fair enough? Let's proceed ahead. Okay. Now let's say I am write the structures of different chain isomers of alkanes corresponding to the formula C6H14. So C6H14 is what? We know it is hexane. Now how many formulas we can have? How many structural isomers or different properties we have? So this is one hexane arrangement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and obviously 6. This will be named as N-hexane. Let's try to name this. Obviously we will have one methyl group here, one methyl group here. Let's quickly count 1, 2, 3, 4 and this is 5, and on the second position there is a methyl group. So obviously here you have a methyl group. Okay, remember you cannot do the numbering of the chain from this side, because by lowest locant rule you will have to assign the number to the lowest number to this one. So what do we have here? 2-methyl pentane, 2-methyl pentane. Okay, so this will be 2-methyl pentane. Let's look at this one. Okay, we have here one methyl group, we have here one methyl group, we have here one methyl group, we have here one methyl group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again assigning 2 here. We cannot start the chain from here. Applying the lowest locant rule, what do we get? 2,2-dimethyl 2,2-dimethyl butane, 2,2-dimethyl butane, and so on and so forth. You can make numerous isomers. You can make many isomers. So placing one here or placing one there. So in this way you can make many isomers out here. So these are a couple of isomers that we have for the same formula, that is C6H14, which is primarily hexane. So all these will have the same molecular formula of C6H14. All of them will have the same chemical properties. The difference will only be there in the physical properties. So all these are examples of chain isomers. They all are structural isomers. In structural isomers, these are all chain or nuclear isomers. Okay. Again, chain isomers have different physical properties, refractive index, melting point, boiling point, density, etc. But same chemical properties. They will have the same chemical properties. Okay. Let's proceed ahead. Okay. So now we come to the different aspect of isomerism, which is called position isomerism. Now what is position isomerism? Now when we have functional groups, obviously these functional groups, let's say a double bond or a triple bond, alcoholic group, aldehydic group, ketonic group, carboxylic acid group, all these will have their different positions, and we need to mention their positions while we are doing the while we are doing the IUPAC nomenclature, or when we are naming the compound. So let's look at this. Compounds having the same structure of carbon chain, but differing only in the position of multiple double or triple bonds, which means that there is no chain isomerism here. It is just positional isomerism. Double or triple bonds is one thing, and the other one is or the functional group. The functional group is basically different. So these are known as positional isomers. Positional isomerism. So we have the difference in the number of double bond, the difference in the number of triple bond, or the difference in the number of functional group, which can be either an alcoholic group, an aldehyde group, a carboxylic acid group, and so on and so forth. So we will clear our concepts on this based on examples. Okay, so let's kind of start from these compounds. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so here we have one methyl group. No, we will not have a methyl group here. This has to be CH2. We can only have a methyl group here. Let's look at this. We can afford two methyl groups here. Again, we can afford one methyl group here and one methyl group here. This cannot have a methyl group because of obvious reasons. Double bond exists. Okay, so what group we will be having there? CH2 group. Okay, now let's look at this. So this is 1. Shall we start from 1 here? No, obviously we will have to apply the lowest locant to the double bond. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. What do we name this as? But 1 ene. What will be the molecular formula? C4H8. अब just applying the CnH2n rule for alkenes. Let's come to this one. Okay, we can 1 2 start from any which ways. 1 2 3 4. What will this be? But 2ene. This will be basically but 2ene. Again, this will also have the same molecular formula. Count the number of carbon atoms and count the number of hydrogen atoms. You will get the same configuration of C4H8. Let's look at this one. Here we have methyl. Obviously there is no methyl here. So what do we name this as? We start from here. 1 2. Let's say 3. 1 2 3, or we can go this way as well. So this will be what? 1 2 3. So this will be prop. Okay, prop 1 ene, and this will be what? 2 methyl prop 1 ene. Again, this is also going to fulfill the requirements for C4H8. So all these will be what? Positional isomers. Why positional isomers? Look at their double bond position. Here, first carbon atom is having the double bond. Second carbon atom having the double bond. First carbon atom having the double bond. Okay, so these will be basically positional isomers. These are all positional isomers. Okay, let's look at this one. Here we have a functional group. So as I said, it can be double bond, it can be triple bond, or it can be functional groups like OH and all. So let's say we will start with this OH. Okay, let's name this here. So this will be 1 2 3 and 4. What do we name this as? This will be butanol, or we can also call it butane 1-ol. Okay, let's look at this one. 1 2 3. Okay, so obviously look at this one very carefully. This will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3. Okay, and this will be 1 2, or rather this will be 1 2 3. So this will be what? 2 methyl. No, I am wrong here. I am so sorry here. This will not be. In fact, I suppose I made a mistake here as well. 1 2. No, this is correct. Okay, so let's look at this here. This is basically OH group. This is OH group. So this will be what? 1 2 3. Okay, so this will be what? Propane 1-ol. Let's look at this one here. Okay, this will be 1 2 oh sorry, this will be 1, this will be 1. Either this has to be 1 or this has to be 1. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this will be what? Propane 2 all, propane 2 all. Both of them are going to justify the formula C3H7OH. Both of them. Count the number of carbon atoms here and count the number of hydrogen atoms here and count the hydroxyl group as well. You will get the same molecular formula. So these are what? Again, position isomers. Why are we calling them as position isomers? Because there is a difference in the position of the functional group. There is a difference in the position of the functional group. So these are all positional isomers. Okay, let's look at here. So we have here position isomers. Again, very important to understand, positional isomers. Positional isomers will have different physical properties, but again same chemical properties. Okay, same chemical properties. Let's look at this one. So this will be what? Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be butane all, or we can say butane 1 all. Okay, let's come to this one. There is a methyl group here, there is an OH group here, 1, 2, 3. So obviously we have one methyl group. Okay, so this will be what? 1, 2, 3. We have to give the lowest locant rule here. So this will be 2 methyl, this will be 2 methyl. Okay, propane 1 all, 2 methyl propane 1 all. Let's come to this one. Obviously we have to assign 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. Here we will have 1 methyl group. Obviously here we will have 1 methyl group. Okay, so this will be what? Butane 2 all. This will be butane 2 all. Okay, let's come here. Okay, so this will be basically 1, 2 and 3, or we can go this way as well, but any which ways this will get. So 1, this is 1 methyl group, this is 1 carbon, this is methyl group, this is also a methyl group. So this will be what? Propane 2 all. This will be propane 2 all. Look at all these compounds very closely. Look at all these compounds very closely. All of them are going to be isomers and fulfilling the condition of C4H9OH. C4H9OH. All of them are going to fulfill the condition. So if you look at it, here it is 1 all. Again, this is 2 methyl 1 all. Okay, all these are basically what? Position isomers. These are all basically position isomers. Okay, just one moment here. So the next type of structural isomerism is basically functional isomerism. Now here what is happening is we have a lot of diversification. Okay, chain and position isomerism, we can just look at the compound and say, but in functional isomerism we have to go deep into the functional groups. The functional groups will differ. In chain isomerism we will just have a different arrangement of carbon atoms. In position isomerism we will have different positions of the double bond, triple bond or the functional group. But in functional isomers the functional group itself changes. So a very unique point out here is that in chain isomerism we will have same chemical properties, different physical properties. In position isomerism wherein the position of the double bond, triple bond or the functional group is basically in variation, here also we will have the same chemical properties but different physical properties. But in functional isomerism the functional group itself changes. So here we have different physical properties and along with that we have different chemical properties as well. Different physical properties and different chemical properties. So let's look at the definition of functional isomerism. Compounds having the same molecular formula, basics of isomerism, but different functional group. Functional groups become different. So here the functional isomerism is displayed by them. So they will basically display what? They will display functional isomers, and this is called functional isomerism. but different functional groups. The functional groups itself become different. Okay, so let's look at this. So we have a molecular formula C6 C2H6O. Now with this molecular formula, the first kind of functional group difference will be shown by alcohols and ethers. So let's go to the general formula of alcohols. What is it? ROH is the general formula of alcohols, and ROR or ROR dash is the general formula for ethers. Okay, general formula for ethers. So let's kind of form compounds with this. So we can have one arrangement here as CH3 CH2OH, CH3 CH2OH. Obviously the name will be ethanol. Okay, we know that alkane, the E gets replaced by ol. Okay, now here we have what? Here we have CH3O, CH3. The common name here will be dimethyl ether, or we can also in the IUPAC name it will be methoxy. This will be methoxymethane. This will be methoxymethane. Okay, so these are what? These are functional isomers. Count the number of carbon atoms here. Again 2, H is 6 and O. Here also carbon atoms 2, H is 6 and O. Both of them are fulfilling the same molecular formula. However, one is an alcoholic group and the other one is a ether group. Okay, so alcohols and ethers will display functional isomerism. Alcohols and ethers have the potential of displaying functional isomerism. Okay, here the O is in combination with H, so it becomes alcohol. Here the O is combination with two alkyl groups, and so it becomes an ether. So these are functional isomers. Here again we have to remember the physical properties and the chemical properties both will differ. Let's consider some more cases. So we have carboxylic acids, and esters. So let's look at carboxylic acids. We know that the general formula for carboxylic acids is what? RCOOH, where R forms your alkyl group, and esters it is RCOOR, or it can be RCOOR dash. So if I look into this, let's say we'll take an example of C2H4O2. Now C2H4O2, if I happen to place it this is forming ethanoic acid. COH group is what? COH group is basically what? C, and this will be double bond, and this is OH. Okay, and this is also the same. This is OR, and this is what? This is ester group. Okay, now let's look at this ester. This is what? This is methyl. This is methyl methanoate. This is methyl methanoate. This is methyl methanoate. Count the number of carbon atoms in both the cases, 2. Count the number of H atoms in both the cases, 4. And count the number of oxygen atoms in both the cases, it is 2. So both of them are justifying the same molecular formula, C2H4O2. However, one is basically a carboxylic acid group and the other one is an ester group. One is fulfilling the formula of this one is fulfilling the general formula of this one. So carboxylic acids and esters, they will also show functional isomerism. In carboxylic acids it is the acid group, in esters it is the ester group. Okay, we will consider more cases of functional isomerism. So here we have what? Aldehydes, ketones and enols. So what are aldehydes? We know aldehydes are basically compounds having CHO. One thing that we have to understand as a basic difference between aldehydes and ketones is that ketones cannot have a H here. Okay, the alkyl groups may be the same or may be different, but they will not have a H here, and aldehydes will always have a H here, which means C double bond O, and here it is H and this is R. This is basically the aldehyde group. Okay, an aldehyde group is always terminal. It is always the terminal carbon atom. Okay, and in aldehydes and ketones both, we will count the carbon atom as well. What are enols? Enols are nothing but alcohols which will have a double bond. Alcohols which will have a double bond in the chain. These are known as enols. So basically a double bond plus a OH group will be enols. We will see the examples as to how they are forming. So let's take a compound here, C3H6O. and let's form aldehyde, ketone and enol from this compound. Okay, so let's say the first thing that we come here is the aldehyde. Let's look at this CH3C, CH3C, sorry, this is a basically ketone. So what will this be? This will be, the IUPAC name will be propanone. The IUPAC name will be propanone. 3 carbon atoms, okay, propanone. Let's look at the aldehydic group here. Let's look at the aldehydic group here. As I said, aldehydic group will always be the terminal carbon atom. Aldehydic group is the terminal carbon atom always. So here are we seeing the terminal carbon atom? The name of this will be propanol. Propanol. Okay. Let's look at this one. This is what? This is OH, CH2, CH3. What is it forming? Obviously, it is forming a CH2. It is forming an enol. We have an OH group and we have a double bond as well. 3 carbon atoms. So obviously, we will name this as propene 2-ol. Propene 2-ol. Propene 2-ol. Okay. So that is how it is. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. CH3, CH, CHOH. This will be what? This will be what? This is propene 1-ol. Okay, propene 1-ol. These will be basically what? These will be functional. These will not be functional isomers of each other. They will be just be position isomers. They will just be position isomers. These two. Look at it very carefully. Let's say if I name this 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. So 1 and 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So let's say I take this one by one. If I happen to take this one by one, 1 and 2, these are functional isomers. Why? One is basically ketone group, one is aldehyde group. Let's say 1 and 3, again functional isomers. Why? Because one is ketonic group and the other one is an enol group. 1 and 4 here will also be a functional isomer. Why? Because one is the ketonic group and 4 is a enol group. Okay, let's look at this one. 1 and 3, 1 and 3 functional isomer. 1 and 3 obviously functional isomer. One is a ketonic group and the other one is an enol group. So we have already considered. I'm so sorry. Let's start from 2. So let's start from 2. So 2 and 3, 2 and 3. One is basically an aldehyde group, the other one is an enol group. So these are what? Functional isomers. Let's come to 2 and 4. Okay, one is a aldehyde group and the other one is an enolic group. Yes, functional isomers. Okay, 3 and 4 both are enols. Both are enols, so they are not functional isomers, but there is a difference in the functional group attached. So this will be what? Position isomer. When there is a difference in just the number of the carbon atom to which the functional group is attached, that is known as a functional isomer. Okay. So we saw how we have functional isomerism in aldehydes, ketones and enols. Now we will discuss about functional isomerism again. Functional isomerism in dienes and alkynes. So what are dienes? Dienes means that there will be 2 double bonds and alkynes mean there will be 1 triple bond. Okay, 1 triple bond. So let's say we have this molecular formula of C4H6. So what will this be? Let's say I name this compound 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 2 double bonds. Obviously it will be a diene. What can I write this as? Butane 1,4-diene. Butane 1,4-diene. This will be butane, sorry, 1,3-diene. I am so sorry. Butane 1,3-diene, because we have one double bond at the first carbon and 1 double bond at the third carbon. So this will be butane 1,3-diene. Let's look at this one. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. This can be like butane. We can name this as butane. If I take another compound, let's say CH3, and then we have C, let's say triple bond C, then we have CH3. This is also okay. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this will be what? But 2-ine. Okay. Now let's say this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Okay, so between 1 and 2, these will be what? Functional isomers. Obviously functional isomers, because one is a diene group and the other one is an alkyne group. Okay, between 1 and 3, look at it very closely. Between 1 and 3, this is basically a diene and this is an alkyne. So again these will be functional isomers. Okay, between 1 and 4, let's say between between 2 and 3, between 2 and 3, what do we have? These are both alkynes, so it's just that the position of the triple bond is changing. Here it is at position 1, here it is at position 2. So it will be 2 and 3 will be basically position isomers. These will be position isomers. Okay, so you have to make your discretion, because they have functional groups as different. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 3 would be functional isomers, and 2 and 3 we have the position of the triple bond as different, so this will be position isomerism. Okay, let's look at other groups of functional isomerism. So nitroalkanes and alkyl nitriles. So if I look at the general formula of nitroalkanes, what will it be? RNO2, which means double bond, and this is basically a nitroalkane. And what about alkyl nitrile? This will be RON double bond O. This is basically an alkyl nitrile. So let's say if we happen to take this compound and make compounds out here. So this will be CH3, this will be CH2, this will be N, and this will be obviously double bond, and this will be O. Okay, so this will be what? Ethyl, or this will be nitroethane. This will be nitroethane. What about this one? This will be what? Let's say I make a compound from here. So this will be again CH3, CH2, O, N, double bond O. So this will be ethyl nitrite. This will be ethyl nitrite. This will be ethyl nitrite. Okay, so these are the two compounds of alkyl. These are also what? Functional isomers, because in one we have this as the functional group, and in the other we have this as the functional group. Okay, otherwise molecular formula for both of them are the same, but the functional groups are different. So these are again functional isomers. What? Nitroalkanes and alkyl nitrites. Okay, let's look at other functional groups isomerism. This also will show functional isomerism. What? 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree amines. 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree amines. So let's say this is the molecular formula C3H9N, and we will make amines out of it. So this is 1 degree amine. So this is a 1 degree amine. This is a 1 degree amine, because here this is attached to the first carbon atom. So this is a 1 degree amine. This, if you see, is a 2 degree amine. This is a 2 degree amine. This will be a 2 degree amine. And this, if you see, the N is attached to 3 carbon atoms. One here, and one here. So this will be a 3 degree amine. This will be a 3 degree amine. Okay, this will be a 3 degree. These are also functional isomers. These are also functional isomers. Let's look at cyanides and isocianides. Okay, so what are cyanides? If I look in the general formula of cyanides, it will be like this. And what are isocianides? If I look at the general formula for isocianides, this will be like this. Okay, so this is basically what? Coming from the same molecular formula C2H3N. So this will be what? This is basically a cyanide. And this will be an isocyanide. These are also functional isomers. These are also again what? Functional isomers, because what is happening here is that their functional groups are different. Here we have C triple bond N, and here we have the N attached to the alkyl group. Here we have the C attached to the alkyl group. Again, if you look at them, both will have the same amount of carbon atoms, same amount of nitrogen atoms, and same amount of hydrogen atoms. Okay, let's look at the other thing. Here we have aromatic alcohols aromatic alcohols will show, phenols will show, and ethers will also show. Okay, functional isomerism. Let's say this is OH and CH3. So OH and CH3, this CH3 can be here, can be here, can be here. It can be ortho para. So we can say that O, this is basically ortho, meta and para. O, M, P, these will be OMP cresols. These will be OMP cresols. Let's look at this one. Here we have OCH3. So this will be what? An anisole. This will be anisole. Okay, anisole. A kind of an ether. A kind of an ether. We have a phenol group and we have a methyl group here. So this is anisole. Okay, let's look at CH2OH. So this is what? A phenol type of group. This is basically aromatic alcohol. This is a phenol type of a group. Okay, so here we have CH2OH attached here. Here we have CH2OH. So these are also what? These are also functional isomers. These are functional isomers. So basically what we have covered till now is position isomerism, we have covered chain isomerism, and we have covered functional isomerism. Position, chain and function. So position is basically what? Position is the position of the functional group, the double bond, triple bond, OH, CHO, whatever. Same molecular formula, same. So this position isomerism will have same molecular formula, same chemical properties, different physical properties. Okay, let's talk about chain isomerism. Again, same molecular formula, same molecular formula, same chemical properties, but different physical properties. Let's come to functional isomerism. Again, same molecular formula, same molecular formula, different here, different chemical properties and different physical properties, different chemical properties and different physical properties. So this is pretty much about structural isomerism. This is pretty much about structural isomerism. We are going to cover more with other types of isomerism. Okay, so now we have already covered structural isomerism and we have covered some examples as well. We'll look at some more examples in detail. We will see how we will classify them as position, chain or functional. Now we have something called as metamerism. Now what does metamerism basically means? It's also a type of isomerism. Let's look at the definition first. Compounds having the same molecular formula, isomerism, but different number of carbon atoms or alkyl groups attached on either side of the functional group. Either side of the functional group. For example, this is the functional group. We have here R and here we have R dash. Let's say this R dash is made up of 2 carbon atoms and this R dash is made up of 2 carbon atoms. Okay, or let's say 3 carbon atoms. If we change the ratio here, let's say we make this as R dash and this is R dash dash dash. Okay, we keep the A as same. These are not functional isomers. Again, these are not functional isomers. Let's say we make the ratio here as 1 carbon atom. So 2 plus 3, 5, let's say 4 carbon atoms. This will be basically a metamer. These two are metamers. Alkyl groups which are attached to either side of the functional group will have different carbon atoms. And these will be metamers. Again, what will be the thing? They will have the same same chemical properties. I'm so sorry. They will have same chemical properties but different physical properties. Same chemical properties but different physical properties. Compounds having the same molecular formula but different number of carbon atoms or alkyl groups on either side of the functional group are called as metamers, and this phenomena is called metamerism. Occurs among the members of the same homologous family. Metamers have different physical but same chemical properties, same chemical and different physical. So we will see some metameric examples. What happened? Okay, let's say ethers. Okay, ethers. We know what is the general formula for ethers, ROR, or it can be ROR dash. So let's say we take diethyl ether. So let's say we have here C2H5O, C2H5O. Okay, so the common name here will be diethyl ether. Okay, If I happen to do this CH3O C3H7, so what I have done is I have shifted one carbon atom out there, okay, diethyl ether, or we can write this as ethoxyethane. What will this become? Methoxy. This will become methoxy N propane. For example, if we have a straight chain propane, methoxy N propane, okay, that's how. So these are what? These are basically, these are what? These are metamers of each other. Methoxy N propane, this will be a metamer of this. So diethyl ether, which we can also say that it is ethoxyethane. So what we have done is, here there were two ethyl groups. In this one will be a methyl and one will be a propyl group. So here we have an ethyl group, and here what we have is, one is a methyl group, and the other one is a propyl group. So these are what? These are metamers. These are metamers of each other. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's say thioethers. Again, the same thing. Thioethers are what? Let's say thioethers are. This is what a thioether would look like. R, S, R dash. So let's say we start with C2H5S, C2H5. What can we write this as? Thioether. This is basically sulfur group in between. So this will be thio. So this will be diethyl thioether. Okay, this will be a diethyl thioether, or let's say if I happen to change it as CH3S C2H5, then what will, C3, this will be C3H7, this will be C3H7. So what will this become? Methyl N propyl thioether. This will be a metamer as well. So just by changing the, so we have one methyl group here, one propyl group here, okay, one ethyl group here and one ethyl group here. Same molecular formula, that is C4H10S. C4H10S. This will be also C4H10S. Okay, so these are basically methyls. Amines, the same thing happens in amines as well. The NH group. So here we have, just one second here. So we have here amines. Okay, again metamerism. So let's say amines will be what? NH group. This is R, or this could be R, NH, R dash as well. So let's say we are taking here C2H5, NH, C2H5. This will be what? Diethyl amine. This will be diethyl amine. Okay, diethyl amine. If I happen to get this as CH3, this will be NH, this will be C3H7. So this will be what? Methyl. This will be what? Methyl N propyl amine. This will be diethyl amine. This will be methyl N propyl amine. Okay, so we will so the last type of metamer that we will discuss here is of amides. Okay, so amides here is the functional group C double bond O, and this is NH. Okay, so this is basically the functional group which is attached here. Let's look at this compound. This is what? N-ethyl. Here we have N-ethyl propanamide. So this is N basically attached. Okay, if I happen to count this 1, 2, 3, so that's the reason it is propanamide. Amide group is there. Okay, this carbon atom is also counted in the group. So that's the reason it is named as propanamide. And here we have ethyl, CH2 and CH3 group. So this will be basically N. Why are we naming it as N? Because N is here. Okay, N-ethyl propanamide. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. So where we have one methyl here, one methyl here. So this carbon has actually shifted along with its amine group. Okay, so this will be what? N-methyl butanamide. Let's look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now instead of propanamide, which was here, for 3 carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, we have now as butanamide. So this is basically butanamide, and this is N-methyl butanamide. This is N-methyl butanamide. These are also metamers of each other. Just one thing to note here is that metamers are a kind of position isomers only. So not all compounds which are showing position isomerism will show metamerism, but however all metamers will be position isomers. Okay, all metamers will be definitely position isomers as well. Okay, so this was pretty much the last group that we need to discuss about metamers. We will see some examples out here. Okay, so let's say we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say 1, 2, 3, we have placed one O. Alcohols and ethers we are seeing. Okay, so let's say this is OH group, this is O. Let's say we place an O here, this is an O here. We will obviously have one methyl group here, one methyl group here, one methyl group here. We will place one methyl group here, one methyl group here, one methyl group here, one methyl group here, one methyl group here. Count the number of carbon atoms in each one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be C5. What about OH? Obviously there is no double bond, so this has to be C5 H11 OH. This has to be C5 H11 OH. Okay, this will also be the same, C5 H11 OH. This will also be the same, this will also be the same. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we have 1, 4 OO. So this will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this will be a little different. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. This will be a little different. So let me rub this off. Let's place OH here. So this will be 1, 2, 3. I was correct. Okay, sure, let's do this here. Okay, so this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we have 1, 2, 3 and this is 4. Okay, here we will have 1, 2, 3 and this is 1. Okay, here we have 1, this is 1, this is going to be your 2, this is going to be your 2, and obviously this is going to be your third carbon atom. Okay, third carbon atom. So we just number the carbon atoms accordingly. This will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, this is going to be 2, this is going to be 3 and this is going to be 4. So let's look at this. Okay, let's have clarity on this entire thing. Why is it disturbing me? Okay, chalo. So what will I name this compound as? This will be simple butanol. All of these will have the same formula, C4 H9O or let's say C4 H10O. All of them will have the same formula, C4 H10O. Count all of them, you will get the same formula. Okay, so this is butanol. What about this? This will be basically an ether group. So this is we can say this is ethoxy. This is ethoxy ethane. This is ethoxyethane. What about this? This will be methoxy. This will be methoxy. And this is what type of propane? If you see, this is like methoxy propane, methoxy isopropane, or we can say I will have to number this from here, 1, 2 and 3. So this will be 2-methoxy propane, 2-methoxy propane. Okay, what about this one? This one will be, this is what, again we have to start from here. So this will be 1, 2, 3. So this will be 3-methoxy N propane, 3-methoxy N propane. Okay, let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let's compare. Okay, let's compare. Be very careful about the comparison here. So if I compare 1 and 2, 1 and 2 are what? 1 and 2 are what? One is alcohol, the other one is ether. So obviously functional isomerism. They will show functional isomerism. There is no point in talking about position isomerism, because position isomerism is exhibited between the same functional groups, which is not there. There is no point in talking about chain isomerism as well. Chain isomerism doesn't exist here. The chains are the same, and there is no point in talking about metamers as well, because metamers again correlate to the same functional groups. So they will just show functional isomerism. What about 1 and 3? Let's look at it again. 1 and 3. Here the chain structure is also different. So yes, alcohol and ether group, so that will contribute to functional isomerism, and since the chain structures are different, that will also contribute to chain isomerism. What about 1 and 4? 1 and 4, 1 and 4. So 1 and 4 will have the same chain. They have the same chain but same different functional groups. So they will be showing functional isomerism. They will be showing functional isomerism. Okay. Let's start with 2 now. So let's say 2 and 3. We are already done with 1 and 2. So 2 and 3. 2 and 3, what are they? They have the same functional group, so no functional isomerism. Here it is ethoxyethane attached to the second carbon atom. Again it is attached to the same carbon atom. No position isomerism. But will there be a metamerism? Yes, metamerism. Why? Because here it is methyl group and here it is the ethane group. Here it is the propane group. It is basically ethyl. Here it is methyl and propyl. So here 2 and 3 will be metamers of each other. Is there a difference in the chain arrangement? Yes. So they will also show chain isomerism. No functional isomerism because both are ethers. Metamerism and chain isomerism. Since it shows metamerism, obviously it will be a case of position isomerism as well. Okay, let's look at 2 and 4. Let's look at 2 and 4 people. So we have 2 and 4. No chain isomerism obviously. Is there a difference in this O and this O? Yes, there is a difference. So 2 and 4 will definitely be metamers. There will be metamerism which will be shown. No functional isomerism because both are ethers. Okay. Metamerism will be shown. Is there a position isomerism? Obviously yes, there will be a position isomerism as well. Is there a chain isomerism? No chain isomerism. The chain structures are almost the same. Okay, so 2 and 3 done, 2 and 4 done. Let's 3 and 4. Let's come to 3 and 4. Let's come to 3 and 4. Is there a difference in the O? No. So there is no metamerism out here. But is there a chain isomerism here? Yes, there is a chain isomerism here. So it will only be exhibiting chain isomerism. 3 and 4 will be exhibiting only chain isomerism. That's how we are going to decide which type of isomerism is existing where.